Hey, we're live. How's everyone doing? It is November 14th. Nice snowy day this morning in Endor. It's cleared up now, but it was nice to see a lot of snow this morning.
Yeah, got fresh snow with blue sunshine. Lovely.
Yeah, and Richard, you were supposed to go skiing this morning. I was a little bit surprised to see you in the office. I'm not sure what happened to your plan there.
I had failed to do my paperwork to get my residency pass, to get my discounted ski pass. So I'm doing that after this call.
All right. You prioritize. You got to prioritize.
Absolutely.
Okay, I assume everyone can hear me. Oh, there's Cor. Gian Andrea. Just lovely to see you. Dennis, Andre. You know, I know a lot of Andres from the Netherlands. Must have been a popular name in a certain time period.
I have read that if you name your children with beginning with the letter A, they tend to be on average more successful in life.
Because they get called on first?
I guess, yeah.
Huh.
First service.
Interesting. All right. Well, we've certainly got some interesting things to talk about today. And I think what's going to be just some great trading, even though December might end up being pretty quiet going into the holidays, which I anticipate. I like the setup we're in, and I think that setup's going to carry off into January. So I'm really excited to talk about that. As always, please, if you have questions, just drop them into the chat under the Q&A section. Also, at the top of the chat, you'll see a little link there, our little affiliate link there. If you want to save 10% on Deribit fees, if you don't have a Deribit account, and you probably do because you're on Deribit Live, well, feel free to use our link and do us a solid and save yourself 10%. Okay, I think we're ready to rock and roll here. We just had a big move in the market for some weird reason. This big wick down and right back up. It's retraced almost all of it. Started to drift back down again. So that'll be cool because when I go to the charts here in a few minutes, we can talk about that. And we can talk about what we were talking about both this morning and yesterday and how things have really kind of gone according to script, to be honest. And sometimes that'll just happen where it's like, you're tuned in and everything does what you think it's going to do, because of course there's other months where it does the exact opposite. But sometimes it's nice when you see things going, okay, that made perfect sense.
You're not supposed to admit live on air that we have a script for the markets.
Yeah,
that we are those guys.
Well, and this is why we need to do real-time streaming all day long, like a reality show, so people can just tune in and watch that show. And I was telling you there was a movie with what's his name, the Canadian guy, the mask.
I know the idiot.
I see his face, anyways.
Yeah.
He made a movie, and basically he was in a reality show his whole life. He didn't know, right? So that could be like our lives. We could just literally be in a reality show. All right, let me go to the slides. Are you Googling it?
I'm Googling it, yeah.
What's
Jim Carrey.
Jim Carrey. I can't believe it. I was thinking Dana Carvey for some reason. Anyways, Jim Carrey, yeah. I don't know what the name of the movie is. But anyways, so today's agenda, we're going to look at the markets. We're going to look at some current trades. Actually, we still got the trades on from last week, except for the debit spread. I did put another one on, but I didn't post it actually to our group that follows because it was a 3-day strangle, and I felt it was a bit risky, and I didn't want anybody new to follow that one. It was a small trade anyways, but we can talk about that. And basically the topic is some big moves in Bitcoin and some gold and trading opportunities. I just love where we're set up, so I'm super happy to talk about that. Of course, before we get started, to plug ourselves, if you want to follow us, roguetrader.academy. Anyone is silver member and higher, we do interactive trade alerts on our discretionary accounts. Weekly Ask Me Anything call, which is a fantastic call. We've got some great people on there with some great conversations. I love those calls. It's like sitting down with a good bunch of friends talking about trading. Access to all our educational content. Actually, we just launched a course last week on hedging. We want to do stuff that nobody else has. And of course, we're doing live stream every day now, at least one a day, sometimes 2 or 3, depending on what's going on in the market. And you can follow us over on Patreon, Rogue Trader Academy. Yes, we are setting up an OnlyFans, but still not ready. We can't get past the verification procedure because I don't think they actually believe that a couple of old guys are doing this and it's not, R-rated. It's blowing their minds. They're not accepting us. So.
I thought it was hilarious that they had to get me to prove that I accepted to be on your video on OnlyFans.
Yeah, it's kind of weird, but anywho, so let's go over to the charts. And now, I saw that the devol spiked up just a few minutes ago. I went over the minute chart, and it did have a bit of a spike, but not a lot. So East Silly chart, I don't really want to talk about this too much because it looks a lot like the Bitcoin Silly chart. And so I'm probably just going to talk. I don't have any positions on ETH right now. I only have Bitcoin positions on. So let's talk about this. So it was yesterday or the day before. It's all a blur. I said to Richard, I leaned over in our office and I'm like, hey, Richard, we've got this descending triangle here. It's a very bearish signal. It's only 3 days. It's a very short term. So let's not, really lean on it very much. But, we're coming into this range over here. And what happens? Well, the Fed 2 hours later comes out and, the signal is going to be a rate cut possibly. And stock market goes to all-time highs and gold explodes and oil jumps. And of course, we had this move up. So it kind of screwed up my technical analysis, but did it. So here we come in this morning. We're kind of holding on this great better than ever news. Well, we didn't even hit recent highs. So that tells me that, either Bitcoin is going to be lagging a little bit, which it could be, and it does do, or there just wasn't that much enthusiasm. And in a little while, Richard's going to show you some metrics that we're always looking at, which were leading us to believe that the market didn't believe it. The market does not think it's going up really right now at the time. And we saw this, and I was saying to Richard, I said, we're going to see a little pump up here, a little wick up. It's got to hit. I had some trigger orders there. It's got to hit those, and then we're coming down. And we had this big candle down, and it's retraced a big chunk of it. So where it goes from here, who knows? Who knows?
And actually, if you want proof that Shane is not talking out of his backside, here's the link to my LinkedIn post that I posted 4 hours ago.
Yes, you did make a post this morning, and
for once we got it right.
yeah, there we go. Actually, you make quite a few posts. I would encourage people to follow you on LinkedIn. I think those are quite valuable. And folks, actually, Richard actually sits down and puts some thought into that. Usually, he usually does. So it's quite. I think it's quite insightful. So here we are. Now we had this beautiful ascending triangle, and it was like clockwork. Beautiful. Boom up. We had a little mini one. Got screwed up by the Fed. What do we got? Well, we still got this 49,000, 54,000 call spread. A credit spread up there. Beautiful. I'm just going to let that expire. It expires tomorrow. I decided on the weekend I probably wasn't when it was down here. So unless anything crazy happens, we're just going to collect all the premium from that. Now, I did have a debit spread on last week, but I took it off because it wasn't looking like it was working out. I took it off here when it went up there. And, of course, it came down. But that's fine. I don't do debit spreads that often. And if they go 50% against me, I usually just take them off because I think, hey, you know what? I was wrong. Fair enough. Whatever. So why do I love it? And why do I think this is such a golden opportunity? Well, I'll tell you why. We spent quite a bit of time on this really gentle uptrend, really nice. I shouldn't say too gentle. I mean, when I talked to Richard this morning, he pointed out something to me. The Zigdow fund that we're trading through the Deribit interface, we started that on November 1st or 2nd. So it's been a month and a half. And he said, well, yeah, we started that at 30K. I'm like, 30K? Really? It was only like 6 weeks ago? 30K to 45 is a pretty big move, So here I am saying a gentle slope, but actually it was pretty solid. No, obviously a big chunk of it was made in this, since the beginning of December, but fine. So we had this ascending triangle where we kept trying to push up, built this really nice wall of resistance. You knew if it was going to bust, it was going to bust hard. And it went right up into my pink lines that I had made back in the spring, went up to the top of them, came right back down. Beautiful. Love it. So we've established another high at around, 44 and a half. We wicked up to something like that. Let's say 44 or 45, that range. And we do have, I'm not going to say necessarily a bottom here at 40 and a half, but I will say there's a bottom here at 38. the market hit its head against that some time, resistance turns into support. So between 38 and 45, that's a big range. And I would expect in this current environment that volatility, we could really get some big moves that take up that whole range. And I think that the Fed didn't make that announcement yesterday. We're coming back down here. Now, we do have this old trend line. So maybe it only went down to 39, 40, 38 and a half on a wick, fine, whatever. We're coming down into the top 30s, anywhere from 37 to 39. Oh my gosh, I'm going to be selling put spreads. I'm going to be selling puts down at 35 or 36 or 33 or whatever I happen to be comfortable, and depending on the time frame. Beautiful, because I think everybody was kind of in the same place as us. We're thinking, you know what, for the rest of the month, we might kind of drift down a bit. The enthusiasm wears off a little bit about all this ETF stuff. But the long-term consensus is still up. Will it go to 60K or 100K or a million like some donut heads are saying? I don't know. It could, possibly. But I do know.
Not in a straight line, right?
Yeah, I do know we've established some really nice parameters. So any of those move downs, I'm going to be looking to sell some puts. And I want to get some really nice vol, get some nice premium. I'll cover them off. And if it goes a little bit lower, let's say we end up going down, way down here to 34. Who knows? It could happen. I'll roll down, and I'm happy to collect that premium and kick it out another week or two or whatever I have to do. And at the same time, I'm probably going to be looking to pick up longs, whether that's long calls on fast moves, maybe some short-dated near-term expiry things. Maybe it'll be a great time to pick up some March, 50,000 or 60,000 or June or September's or, whatever, because they'll be on sale. So I'm really hoping that happens. If it doesn't happen, we push up to the upside. I'm going to be a little bit more cautious. If we start pushing up to, 45, 44, 45 again, I'm perfectly happy to sell spreads up here. Perfectly happy to do it. Because if it breaks through here, it's going to go straight through. And it'll be next stop, maybe this is too tight of a gap. Maybe it'll easily go up to, 49 or 48. But I don't think it's going to just blast through 50 like a hot knife through butter. It could, especially if it's news driven. Sure, anything can happen. It's the markets and it's the crypto markets. But I'm going to be quite happy to be selling. So right now, any down movement, especially if it's exaggerated, I'm happy to sell spreads. Any up movements, I'm going to be happy to sell spreads, because there's also a damn good chance, especially for the rest of this month, that we're just going to stay in this range between 44 and let's say 38. That's a nice big range to move in. And I think there'll be great opportunities. So I'm super excited. I'm more excited now about the market and the setup on the chart because of this than I was before. Because when you're looking for a breakout, it could keep going, and you need to establish some parameters on each side. So I'm super, super excited. Iron condors, I never usually like selling iron condors right in the middle of a range, because I know I'm going to get pressed on one side. So I'd rather put on one side, wait for it to come back, put on the other side. That's the way I prefer to do them, in legs. And sometimes it might not be an iron condor. The dates might be different. It might just be two spreads with different dates. Who knows? Maybe a back spread, maybe a diagonal. It doesn't matter, whatever you want to do. But credit spreads, I guess, is what I'm trying to say. So I'm pretty pleased as punch with this. Now, the other thing is, and this morning we quickly discussed this on our live stream call with our members, is the January 5th expiry came out. And we were generally trying to avoid selling any risk in January. Our theta is quite low right now. We have a lot of accounts and we have different strategies. Some are discretionary, some are just pure theta, some are whatever, systematic. But we did talk not only this morning, but even 2 weeks ago. We had such high vols in January. We were like, we can sell. Who knows? January is a wild card, right? A wild card. Anything can happen. Go to 65. I don't know, right? And go to 25. Who knows what's going to happen in January when all this news starts coming out, or if anything's going to happen. But we thought, hey, maybe we can sell some vol. Maybe we can bring it in as we get into December and realize that intrinsic value, because we expect the back half of December to be pretty quiet because of the holidays. Now, anything can happen. It's crypto. It's 24/7. It's worldwide. So it's a little bit different than those equity markets that we might all be used to trading. So there might be some good opportunities there, especially if you can sell. Maybe we're going to sell January 5th But by the 25th of December or the last week of December, maybe just pull it all out. Buy that back, because vols might. I think there's a good chance of vols might drop. So I guess I could talk strategies for 2 hours here. There's all kinds of different things we could do, but I think those are the simple setups that we're looking for right now, in order to not overcommit. We don't want to stick our neck out and earn too much theta right now in a potentially volatile environment. But when things do move, we want to jump on it and take advantage of it. And I think this is absolutely the perfect setup. So, I love seeing these big wick. We said $1,000 wick down here. It's retraced it, but I like that. I like that. We make a big wick down to here. Come on, I dare you. I dare you. Obviously, I don't want to tempt market gods, because they will crush me like a bug. But what I'm saying is, I love this range, and I think there's great opportunity there. So, I don't know, Richard, if you want to, I think I've beaten that one to death. I think everybody probably understands the general consensus I have, and why I think this could be the best trading, certainly, of the year, in terms of range.
Yeah, sure. Let me see if I can figure out how to share the white screen here.
Let me turn mine off, because sometimes if I have mine and you share, it gets wonky.
I think it's that one there. So this is just looking at the immersive data available to me. So what I thought was interesting, and you see it in my LinkedIn post, and you just see it here on the left-hand side of the chart here. We had this move up like $1,500 move up. Normally not insignificant, but during that entire move, vols were dropping, and also risk reversals were staying negative. And dropping vols and reversing negative risk reversals kind of imply people are not happy to buy calls and are getting more happy to buy puts in sufficient numbers to actually move the vol surface around. And normally this is a fairly good signal that the market kind of doesn't believe the rally. Options markets seem to be big enough these days to actually have some influence over the spot market, or maybe it's just the same players playing, and they have therefore the same sentiment, and they position their options accordingly. So it didn't really faze me too much that the market had gone against us, because I'd taken off some longs in anticipation of a pullback, and then regretted the fact that I didn't make $2,000 that I could have made, but so be it. But actually, yeah, we saw this, and we woke up to this, and the vol surface was still saying, "I don't want to go up," and now we've had the drop down. We had a slight take up in vols, but not a huge amount, and the vol surface is still negative to neutral. So to get any kind of positive skew on the vol surface now, you're having to go out to March, which is getting near halving. And back, just 2 weeks ago, we were getting sort of plus 12%, 10 delta risk reversals, massive upside sentiment, which is all seems to have vanished from the market. So either the other options players out there don't know what's going to go on, or they do know what's going to go on, and know that there's no more upside for the time being. What else did we do today? We actually, on our Zigzag book, we actually pulled some risk from the end of Jan forward to the 5th of Jan. So it was quite nice that they're made that 5th of Jan contract available. Yeah. And I see that they're about to make a 12th of Jan contract available as well, because of course timing just around the 10th of Jan, which is the ETF announcement, supposedly. So there might be some quite interesting vol spreads to play there. I'm still 60% on the side of I don't think this ETF thing's going to be much to write home about. I keep thinking about it, and I get all the arguments. The ETF makes it available that everyone can buy, and pension funds can buy Bitcoin, and then I think I don't know which pension fund manager is going to go to his boss and say, "Can I have a bonus, please? Because I've just bought Bitcoin." I don't know. I'm skeptical. And I think if there is going to be an effect of the ETFs, I think it's going to be a long, gradual effect of, okay, this, if people see Bitcoin go up, how can I get some Bitcoin? Phone my broker, get 2% of my money into Bitcoin. Fine, that kind of could make sense.
And what's interesting, Richard, is we both know some pretty smart dudes in different areas of the world of finance who have heard both sides of the argument. That buy the rumor, sell the news, and no, it's a long term. It's going to be bullish, and they've all got good arguments.
Yeah, I agree. Which I guess is why the vol increases a bit as you go beyond January, right? Because there's a bigger argument to be had. I can well imagine there being a case for short term disappointment, sell the news, and then longer term enthusiasm as the continuous news flow comes out. Yeah. So like you, I don't often talk about my strategy and plans, but I'm actually happy to. You're talking about selling put spreads on dips. I'm actually happy to start buying risk reversals on dips, or even 1 by 2 risk reversals. If I can get high enough vol on the downside to actually make the risk reversal not too lopsided. So if I can get if I can get as much for the puts as I'm paying for the calls, I'd love to sort of sell 30,000 puts and buy whatever 50,000 calls. That'd be an interesting trade, right? For March or June or something like that. But otherwise, like you, just taking advantage, selling vol spikes and buying back on contractions.
The one thing I do think that if the price does go down, sure, if we get down to 40 or we touch down to 39, and some people get a bit freaked out. If there's a real big purge, like if this has all been smoke and mirrors, and we're actually going down, and all the bigger ones are taking this opportunity to sell, we could see a real big purge. I don't think that's going to happen, but it could. I mean, nothing surprises me in the world of crypto anymore. But
I think it's entirely possible that a group of people met in a smoky room and said, guys, we've got a bunch of Bitcoins, we need dollars to run our mining kit. So, let's just phone a few news wires and pump the price up and dump this shit onto the punters. We've seen the same in TradFi. Why wouldn't you see it in Bitcoin, right?
Exactly. I mean, the gold price has been manipulated for years. We talked about the LIBOR. There's all kinds of scandals that happened over the years in TradFi. And I'll take this opportunity too. I did publish a poll. I usually mention it when I'm doing my charts, and it was just a quick little ask here. And Core asked if there's a time frame. No. What do you think the next price we're going to hit? Do you think we're going to hit 41K or 45K in Bitcoin? What do you think? Most people right now are leaning a little bit to the downside. But Richard, I'll say this group is pretty sharp, because I think last week we said, all right, and here we are into December. Do you think we're kind of going to go sideways? Are we going to blast up or blast down? Most people were saying sideways, and that's what we're doing so far. So I think the instincts.
I think there's a lot of research that points to random crowds of people exhibit a greater intelligence than the individual.
Richard, these aren't random people. They're the Deribit rogue trader professionals. There's no greater group of people in the world. So I think we've skewed the results.
I get it. They're random people, but there are random people.
Yeah. They're randomly off. Yeah. All basically for the last week and a half, we've been seeing the data saying that they don't believe that the run-up's going to happen in the short term. Even when we saw the push-ups, we weren't seeing the volatility spike as much as we should have. Like when we bounced off that 39, we went right up to 43 or whatever we did.
I'm seeing too much correlation between moves in Bitcoin and news sentiment. It's overnight and automatic, and it's 1-for-1, and it's just like it's as if the news desk has a standing instruction that whenever Bitcoin goes up, you switch on the good news button, and whenever Bitcoin goes down, you switch off the good news button and let the boring news happen. Yes. It feels wrong to me.
Yeah. So is spot still volatility still following spot?
Well, we've had a tiny spike in vol as a result of that wick, the wick down and the reversal. I suspect that will start selling off as the day goes by. As we're coming into Friday tomorrow.
And the U.S. is just coming online now, so we might see something happen.
But to be honest with you, for the past kind of week, no, vols haven't really been following spot ever since the move up. So it kind of feels like people in the know. Yeah, they're just not. They're not mocking up vols as spot goes up. So there's no fear. There's no fear of it carrying on.
Yeah. And we're happy to go into the, it'd be nice to earn some theta now and collect it all during December, which we expect to be quiet, but it might not be with the anticipation of the January events. But we're happy to not be earning nearly as much theta as we normally do, because we'd rather be there to roll with the punches and jump on opportunities. And that's kind of going to be our strategy probably going through the rest of December, which makes life a little less stressful for us.
Yeah.
Andre has a question here. Oh, and this is a beaut. I see the call, the 160K, September 2024, so what, 10 months away or so, is 0.0127 Bitcoin each. Is this free money? It is right now. It is right now. I can't help but want to say yes. I really can't, but anything can happen. But I would.
At that vol, if you sold that and hedged daily with buying and selling bitcoins, not perpetuals, because you're going to pay funding, but if you buy and sell bitcoins daily to hedge to zero delta, and you've sold those 160,000 calls, I think there's an extremely good chance you make money.
Yeah.
There's an extremely good chance you make money anyway without hedging it, but for a less terrifying experience.
Well, a couple of years back when Bitcoin was up, 55, 60K, we looked at each other. I remember this, and we were saying, hey, it was the December contract, which was maybe, 6 months away or 8 months. I don't remember exactly what it was. We were looking at the 100K strike, and we actually asked each other the same thing. Is this free money? It was.
Yeah.
So going from 40 to 160 seems absurd, but anything can happen, of course.
Well, that's 4x. I mean, Bitcoin has done more than 4x in a year before.
Yeah.
I mean, look, you take a random poll of people who are involved in Bitcoin. Half of them will tell you it's free money if you buy it, and half of them will tell you it's free money if you sell it. Right?
Probably.
What I do know is that at some point between now and September next year, vol is going to get to higher than 74. So you are going to get hurt on that trade. So don't go all in on that trade.
And I would hold off and wait for vols to go stupid and then sell it. Let's say we do push up to 50 or 55 or 60 or something, then sell it. Oh my gosh, you get so much. Do you have the September contract up there, Richard, in front of you?
Yeah, I do. It's on the screen. It's currently 73.92 vol, so it's charging 128 basis points for $600. $620.
I feel like
I think there's got to be a better trade. That's a long time away.
10 months is like an eternity in crypto, right?
Do you know how I'd play that trade? If I was going to sell that, I wouldn't sell it on price. I would sell it on a vol order. I'd actually set up so like this. I'd do this, and I'd say
sell $100 or something crazy like that. Wait for a spike.
Is that advance. Select IV, and then say 120 volt, and I would just leave the order in. Yeah. Because
ambitious.
Sure as
I can't see the number on the screen there. How much is a Bitcoin is that? Or how much value is that?
Value that would be 0.1 of a Bitcoin. That's $5,000, $4,900. Because sure as hell, at some point, someone's going to get frightened, and we'll hit that kind of vol. So that's how I do it.
You say, look, I want a new Ferrari. It's going to cost me this amount. Just figure out what the vol is and how many contracts. Put that number in there, that wishful thinking number.
These days, a Ferrari is about $250,000, isn't it? So you're going to need to do about 50 contracts.
Hey, fortune favors the brave.
Yeah.
All right. Hey, do we have any more questions? We're kind of at the end of our time here. I know we didn't really we're more of a chatting, talking
With
about
all your
positions.
antics, people haven't had a chance to get a word in edgeways to ask questions. They've probably marveling at your performance.
Well, they don't have to talk; they can type, right? So.
Yeah, but they've been mesmerized by your trade craft and salesmanship.
Yeah, thank you. Andre appreciates me, so I appreciate that.
So actually, is this now a good time, while people are thinking of questions to ask us, a good time to mention that we're doing a couple of things. So Rogue Traders is actually in talks to, it's early days yet, but we're in talks to actually become introducing brokers to provide sort of not advisory service, but execution and so on as part of our plan. Because I think we have a lot of people who I think want more than just handholding. They want to actually be able to talk to somebody that they trust when they put orders through. So we're in talks about that at the moment with various regulators. And I'm also working on a hybrid fund, crypto using crypto volatility to earn gold, physical gold, which might give you some indication of my view of how the world's going to go over the next 5 years. I think there's going to be lots of. I don't know whether Bitcoin's going to $1 million or $0. I suspect both over some period of time, but I know for sure that journey isn't going to be easy. And so using that volatility to store up gold bricks, it feels like a good trade to me. So I'm working in the background to get that done.
Yeah. So just to confirm, you do not have this dystopian Mad Max view of the world in 5 or 10 years. And if you do, you can use your physical gold to create your own little empire and have minions and defend.
Well, or at least be able to buy food. What I actually see is that the world is bifurcating, or even it's going to split into 3 zones of control. So you're going to have the US Western Hemisphere, you're going to have the Chinese Asian Hemisphere, and maybe even an African sort of whatever a third of a hemisphere or a third of a sphere is. And we're going to go back to there being smaller conflicts between the borders of those zones of control, and sort of proxy wars and so on, and also less easy free trade between them, so more piracy. And so basically back to the 18th century in terms of geopolitical view, but this time with guns and nukes and internet and robots. So it's going to be kind of a not dystopian, but almost a techno-medieval cyberpunk world of continuous
basically conflict. Like a modern game of Risk.
Yeah, but without the whole sweeping the board business with your army. I think it's just going to be just continue, and those poor people who live on the edges of these zones of control, as ever, are going to suffer all kinds of hardship, grimness. So that's I think the world we're going into. So I do think there's going to be competing money systems. There's going to be a strong case for safe havens. Some will say that Bitcoin's that safe haven. Some will say, but you can turn the power off, or you can lose your key. So I'd rather have gold bricks. And I think that both are going to have a place in that world. So it's on the one hand quite exciting. On the other hand, I apologise to my children for bringing them into the world at this time, because it was way easier and more peaceful back in the 90s when I was a young man.
Although every generation probably says that too, I think that fund's a great idea, because you got gold and you've got the people call digital gold, so it's kind of the best of both worlds. It satisfies both sides, so that's cool. All right, anything else? I don't see any other. Any more info about Crypto for Gold Fund?
Yeah, you can send a message to my Telegram if you want. And you can follow the progress of how they're getting set up. So that crypto will be traded on Deribit, and we'll be storing the gold in a Swiss bank vault. This will be actual gold bricks with a number on them. None of this paper gold nonsense.
Yeah, and I think what were you saying about paper gold? There's how many certificates issued for each ounce of gold? 30 or
Yeah,
300?
335, I believe the number is.
Yeah.
For every kilogram of gold that exists in a bank vault, there are 335 certificates with a claim on that same piece of gold. So if you think about how over leveraged banks work with their fractional reserve, the gold world is even worse by a factor of 10, 20. So if there ever is a run on physical gold, yeah, the price is going to make Bitcoin look like a puppy dog. I'm not saying it's going to happen, because it may just be that everyone says, you know what, none of us can really afford the world that comes after us all doing a run on gold, but because it's going to threaten the whole global edifice. So, but I think owning gold for me is a free call on disaster, and it earns about 8% versus cash per year. So why not? And we take a lot of risk trading Bitcoin markets. It's a lot of fun, stress, and so on. You don't want to be doing that with all your money, but 20% of your money to trade the markets, and then for the rest is something safe with a long call on it. Why not?
All right, so I have just closed off the poll. Most people, 70%, think we're going to see 41K before we see 45K. I tend to agree, although we could easily have a wick up to 45 and then down. I mean, it's crypto. But I do tend to lean a little bit towards the downside right now, but I always keep an open mind when I'm trading. I never get sold on any one direction, regardless of technicals or news or anything, especially in the crypto world, because it's so reactive. There's so much news coming out, which moves it around, and it's just, some days it's a crapshoot. So I just want to be prepared for whatever happens and sell vol. I think we're out of questions. So Andre says 45 first. Yeah, you just got to be a contrarian, don't you? That's fine. Fine. No
Well, I think he's saying, because everyone's saying it's going to go down first.
Yeah.
And there's some truth to that, right? Because I mean, if we all put a load of sell orders in, you just, or buy orders, you just know that the market's going to go and sniff them out and just take them and then drop.
Yeah, and we recognize that we're not accusing anybody of manipulation, but it's an unregulated market, and it is easier to push around, whales to push around that that you can do with the S&P 500 or with Tesla, for example. So that's just part of life. But that's why I love the trading style I generally deploy with crypto is not so much anticipating the moves; it's waiting for stupid stuff to happen and jumping on the other side.
Yeah, you can't read the market really. It's more about reacting and.
Yeah. All right. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. I hope that what we shared today is going to help you guys in your trading or maybe give a bit more confidence, something to lean on. But I love this setup right now. I think there's all kinds of money in here for the next few months. I just think it's important to tread lightly and wait for things to happen. Counter trading, I think, is going to be a big thing because we see a big move up, big move down. So I'm happy to do that as well. Anything you want to add before we head off, Richard?
I think there's a question here by Branko. What's the name of the Telegram channel? Branko, do you mean the Rogue Trader Telegram channel, or are you talking about the funds?
Maybe talk about DMing you.
DM me, Branko, on @rhodges on Telegram.
If you want to know about the GoFund, you can just message Richard.
Because we're still getting it set up at the moment. So, I've written all the copy, but I haven't produced all the brochures and so on. So I need to get that done.
Fantastic, everyone! Thanks again for joining us. Always a pleasure to chat with everyone here, and we'll talk to you next Thursday.
Okay.
Hey, and thanks for watching this episode of Deribit Live. If you'd like to learn more, talk, and trade along with us, then check out roguetrader.academy, where we offer an incredibly unique educational and trading experience. There is no other service like this out there, period. Where else can you not only learn, but interact daily with professional, fun traders, with each of us having over 20 years of experience? And for those who just want to watch our daily live stream, you can do so via the links below. So if you want to peek behind the curtains and understand the strategies that we've developed since we started trading options in the 1990s and take your understanding and skills to the next level, then join now and we'll see you on the inside.